Imagine how annoying it would be if you could only walk or look at your phone, but never both at the same time. In real life, that might be safer, but safe is not fun in video games. Right now, my character can only play one animation per action. I can't run while shooting. But in today's lessons, we are going to fix that problem forever. At the moment, the shooting animation is completely overriding the locomotion, and we're about to blend them perfectly so your game finally feels like a real third-person shooter. In this video, you will learn how to use the LayerBlendPerBone Node in Unreal Engine 5.7 to split the body into upper and lower sections. Blend the shooting animation only on the top half, keep the running animation fully active on the bottom half, and make your character feel natural, reactive, and professional. This is the Game Creator Accelerator channel, and I am Tony Munoz. Before we jump in, help me grow this channel so I can keep creating more tutorials like this. Like, subscribe, leave a comment telling me what you want to add to your next shooter, and ring the bell so you don't miss any episodes of the Mad Gameverse video game development. Know the strategies we share every week to build a real career in game development. Now, let's get started. Let's present what we have so far. We have the shooting animation working, but if I move the character and then try to shoot, you'll see that it stops the animation of the running to run the animation of the shooting. We want to blend these two animations together while you're running so you can be running and at the same time shooting. We are going to open first the animation of our character, the blueprint animation. And to start, let's group these nodes. We can define the name like cached locomotion movement. And you can also use a different color. Let's use something like a bluish color. And the section of the button, cached ground locomotion with weapon fire slot. And I will use the same color use here. Perfect. Oh well, so similar. If you want to use the same one, just go to the color, copy this code, and then go here and copy again the code. Mode change here is not movement, ground locomotion. Now that we have everything set, my goal is to blend these two animations. I want to keep the animation from the hip up to play the firing animation, but I also want to keep the animation from the hip down to continue the animation of whatever animation is the legs using. To blend two animations, we are going to use a node. Let me move this one a little to the bottom. A node named LayerBlendPerBone. This one. The LayerBlendPerBone node lets you combine two or more animations on the same character, but only apply each one to specific parts of the body. Instead of playing one animation for the whole skeleton, you tell Unreal where to split the animation. In our case, for example, we can play the running animations from the hips down while blending the shooting from the hip up. Think of it like saying, from this bone downward, use animation A. From this bone upward, use animation B. Now, what we need to do is to identify what is the bone that will define the hip up or hip down. We can go to the hip fire montage and the skeleton tree, or you can go to the skeleton of the original character and you have all the bones. Usually for the characters in Unreal, you should have a bone called spine, and the spine will define, well, the spine of the character, and it could have several sections. It is usual to find the spine 01, which is, well, where the spine starts. Then you have the spine 2, spine 3. So what will define the hip up of this character in our case will be the spine 01. Important to mention is that if you change the character, well, you need to have this same bone in order to use the same logic for the animation blueprint. Well, now we have the name. Let's go back to the animation and select the LayerBlendPerBone. Once selected, you have this section in details named Layer Setup. Open it, and you have the index 0, one member, even though you don't have any elements inside the array. Add one element. And look that we have the bone name and the blend depth. For the bone name, we use the same that we find a moment ago. spine underscore 01. And the blend, we're going to leave it in 0 at this point. The blend depth tells Unreal how many bones below the chosen bone should be included in the blend. We already pick a bone, which is the spine 01, which is the point where the upper body animation will start. But the skeleton is a hierarchy, and the spine 01 has children, and those children have more children. Blend depth controls how far down the hierarchy the blend should continue. A simple way to think about it is, let's say blend depth 0, the one we have at this point. In this case, only the selected bone is blended, no children are included. Now, if blend depth is 1, the selected bone and its direct children are blended. Blend depth 2, the selected bone, its children, and the children of those children are blended, and so on. So, the higher the blend depth, the larger the portion of the body affected by that layer. If you keep blend depth low, the animation stays very localized. If you increase it, the blend influences more bones down the chain. Now I'm going to make some changes here. The first is I'm going to move this to the bottom, disconnect this node from the output pose, and move the output pose away. And for the catch ground locomotion with fire slot, I'm going to catch, new catched, and I'll name it catched weapon fire. So now we have the catch from the ground locomotion and the ground locomotion with weapon fire. Now I will use the layer blend per bone and first look for the catch locomotion movement, which is this one at the top, and then catched weapon fire, which is the one resulting here. The next step is connecting this one to the base and this one to the blend pose 0. Let me explain some details related to the layer blend per bone. The base pose and the base pose 0 inside the layer blend per bone node represents the default animation that the character will fall back to before any blending happens. Think of them as the foundation animation. For example, your character might be running, walking, or idling. That animation goes in base pose. Then, each additional pose or animation that you plug into the node becomes a layer that will override only the bones defined in the branch filters. These ones. So the base pose keeps the whole body moving normally, and the other poses only replace the section you specify, like the upper body. Then we have the parameter blend weight. Blend weight controls how much influence the layer has on the final animation. Blend weight equal to 0 means that the layer has no influence, you will only see the base pose. Blend weight 1 means that the layer has full influence on the bones defined by the branch filter. Any values between 0 and 1 fades smoothly between the base pose and the layer animation. At this moment, I want full influence of the hip up animation, so I will leave it in 1.0. And finally, the result will be connected to the output pose. Before we continue, let me share something important with you. This channel is part of a bigger journey called the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship. The goal is very clear: real and measurable transformation into a game developer with the proof, strategies, and community you need to build a long-term career from there. You and I work together to build your first playable prototype in Unreal and truly understand the core principles you will reuse in every future project. We also set up your social platforms so studios, publishers, headhunters, and players can actually discover your work. Then we design daily routines and strategies that keep you inspired and moving forward, even after your regular job hours. This is the same approach successful independent creators use to turn small projects into real opportunities, myself included. It helps you start shaping a business model around your game while also positioning yourself for studio roles if that's the path you want to take. Because in today's industry, sending applications is not enough, and learning in isolation is not enough. You hack the system by showing consistent progress, sharing what you create, and letting studios and players come to you. Inside the GCA, we follow a clear methodology to help you do exactly that. And you are not doing this alone. You build your own brand, you join a focused community, and you get my direct support, including one-on-one sessions week after week with the lifetime access to new strategies, feedback, and reviews. If you want to know more, check the link in the description. Visit woodland.com, read about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship, and book a call with me. It might be a game-changing conversation for your career. Now compile, save, go to the map, and let's test it. Play. I have the shooting. Perfect. Now let's start walking and see. There you go. I am shooting while I am walking, which is exactly what we want to achieve at this point. To summarize, we first separated the two animations and presented in their corresponding cached. Then we add a layer blend per bone, where we identify the bone where we want to divide the hip up animation and the hip down animation. We found that bone in the rate skeleton. Then we set the bone in the branch filters with a blend depth of 0 and the blend weight of 1.0. To watch the difference between 1.0 and let's say 0.5, compile, save, and now let's move and shoot. And you can see that part is the animation, but it kind of is not perfect. Even more, if we move it, let's say to 0, and then compile and save, and test it, look that there is not more blending animation. The effect of the recoil disappeared completely. This is the importance of the blend weight, and that's why, in our case, we have it in 1.0. Alright, now your character can finally run and shoot at the same time without breaking the animation. You learned how to use the LayerBlendPerBone Node in Unreal Engine 5.7, how to keep your locomotion as the base pose, and how to send the shooting animation only to the upper body so everything feels natural, responsive, and like a third-person shooter. Remember, this is one more piece of a Mad Game Burst video game creation, where we're building a complete third-person shooter in Unreal with C++ step by step. And you can reuse this setup in any character you create from now on. Help me expand this channel's presence with YouTube's algorithm. Like, subscribe, leave a comment telling me what animation you want to blend next, and ring the bell so you do not miss the upcoming episodes and all the strategies we share here to build a real career in game development. Remember to visit woodland.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program and start building your path into the gaming industry after office hours with my direct support and the methodology that successful independent developers use consistently, and to set a time to chat with me one-on-one. There is a link in the description. Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.